Welcome to the Co-Host Bros Podcast, where we break down everything short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, and building a profitable hospitality business. Whether you're a host, investor, or property manager, we share real strategies, real insights, and real experiences to help you scale smarter and grow faster. Let's dive in.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 103 of the best podcast that makes you feel like you're hanging out with the homies. I'm Matt Codd, and I'm hanging out here with Austin Spitzenberger, and we are the Co-Host Bros Podcast. So today we have Chantell Hammond. She's all things marketing. We're going to talk about how marketing can help you with your business. She's probably some more things, but we took it short and sweet today, so welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, super excited to have you. We'll just get straight into it. If you don't mind, give us a little bit of background of, I guess, maybe how you got into the space and maybe what it is exactly that you do today.
Yeah. So I got into the marketing world because I jumped into business ownership for myself several years ago, and I had no idea how to do it. I was able to successfully run a Pilates studio and market that for about 2.5 years, and then we relocated, and I decided to let it go at that time. And in reflecting on that, I was like, oh, it could have done so much more if I understood marketing better. And so that kind of led to just an obsession a little bit with marketing. And, went to school, finished my degree, went and worked at a marketing agency, did all the things. And long story short, ended up finding this short-term rental space after leaving a marketing agency because a few of my clients started referring me to people, and referrals were coming in, and more of these short-term rental property owners and managers were popping into my space and my world. And I just recognized a pretty strong need in this space. And so that's kind of how I've ended up in the short-term rental space. Though I don't have my own short-term rental properties, I work with and consult people. I come at this from a marketing background exclusively.
Awesome. I love that. So what kind of problems do you solve in the space? Like what does your client look like? And maybe, yeah, exactly. Like how do you help them?
So the biggest problem that I noticed in this space was that so many people are feeling the pressure that they need to get going and get serious about their own marketing, but it's immediately followed by this sense of complete overwhelm. Like, where do I even start with marketing? Like, there's a million options out there. There's 100 different things, and everybody's telling me different tools that I need to be using and things that are a must do in my business. And everyone swears by this tool or that tool. And pretty soon you have a list of, 14 different things that you are non-negotiables in your marketing strategy. And that results in just complete overwhelm. And so what I really, my favorite thing to do in this space, though I do a lot of different things in the marketing space, my favorite thing to do is sit down with people and help them sort through that overwhelm. Help them recognize that, yeah, there are a lot of tools out there and they do all work. But that doesn't mean that you need every single one of those tools in your business. And what you really need to be doing is finding out the 2 tools that you should go all in on, and understanding why those are the right tools for your business. So that's my favorite thing to do, is like sit and get to know a business and get to understand what's brought them to success up to this point, and help them understand where their opportunities really lie from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And there's so many ways to go about marketing. And I think that people make the biggest mistakes, including myself, of like doing a lot of different things, not fully all the way through. So it's like you try Facebook ads, but you don't really put that much money into it. But you also try, Google SEO, but then you also try, maybe you're trying to build out a CRM over here and you're skip tracing people. So that's the biggest mistake I see. And I think I've made that mistake myself, where it's like we are doing multiple things. And it's like, hey, if we just pick one or two, like an active one and then a like more passive one, um, that would be most successful. I mean, do you see that amongst operators where they're trying to maybe do too many things within the
For
marketing
sure.
space? Yeah.
For sure. And sometimes it's not even necessarily too many things. Sometimes I run into people that are really only trying one or two things, but they're maybe trying them at the wrong time. Like you mentioned Facebook ads or paid ads and stuff. Those are a really powerful tool, but you kind of have to set your business up before it's a good time to enter into that space. Like you need to have a few things in place to set those up for success. And so sometimes people jump in with the ads and ad budget and ad spend a little bit too soon, or maybe they jump into the ad space not really understanding what they need those ads to do for them. Ads are a little bit more complex than just turning them on, and you have to have a deep understanding. And I think that a lot of people don't, either they're trying too many things at once, or they're not going deep enough into any one tool and understanding exactly, when is the right time to leverage that tool and in what way. So and that, just by saying that, that's kind of a little overwhelming too, right? Like, oh, well, now I have to, study even more and figure more stuff out before I can really hit go on a tool, which that approach also causes people to kind of become like a deer in headlights and freeze a little bit. So yeah, there's a lot of overwhelm, and that's one of the things that kind of has really been something I've become passionate about, is taking people in that super overwhelmed moment and helping them dissect it and pick it apart. Because so often we just get frozen there and we don't progress after that. So, or they try things and they're like, well, this doesn't work. And then they quickly pivot and try something else, and they're not giving anything long enough to really understand it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you specialize in one form of marketing? Like we had Sam Hurst on here who's like hyper focused, and he's like, "Hey, I work with operators this size. I only do meta ads. This is your budget, and I do the one thing, and the one thing works for a specific person." Or are you more of like, I can do all of the things, but it's tailored more towards your business? Is my question kind of make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing that I would say I specialize the most in is strategy build out and strategy consulting. The area that I also specialize in a lot is the social media space. So that's social ads and social content and social strategy. I do have an agency, so we do have people in the agency that specialize in a lot of the things. So we kind of offer everything. I won't say everything. We offer a lot of different services. But what I really specialize in personally is the strategic thinking, the strategy build out, helping people dive into their business and understand and build a strategy around their business instead of building a strategy around the voices coming in telling them what they need.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Is there one or two or three, maybe a few marketing strategies that you've seen in our specific space that have maybe had the highest success rate? Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
Or is it different?
And here's what's tricky about this space. Okay. The real challenge is, as you guys know, there are different types of properties out there. You've got experiential properties, you've got, large properties, you've got small properties, different markets, all of the different challenges. And when you really understand marketing, it's not about like, this is a one approach that we can turn on that's going to work for everyone. Marketing at the heart of it is understanding, having a solution to a problem that people have. So your marketing needs to be rooted in who you're targeting. It can't be rooted in, your product at all, really. Your product is what is a vehicle to provide a solution to the people that you have a solution for. And so, yes, there are some things. For example, I would say influencer marketing and social media marketing, especially, can be an insanely powerful tool for the right properties, for experiential properties, for, I guess I would just say experiential properties, and there's lots of different things that can fit into that space, but there are certain properties that are created to have wow social media moments. And so those types of properties with a healthy social media strategy can crush it and do crush it, versus smaller, you know, one night stay properties. They're not going to have a lot of success with a social media strategy. And I wouldn't recommend that they go all in and hire a social media manager and all of the things that are associated with that, because that would be a waste of expense, energy, and effort for them, and they're just not going to see the returns on that. So social media, and that can go into social ads as well. Anything that falls under that social media umbrella with experiential properties, influencer marketing with experiential properties, super strong. And then we've got different market, you know, we've got property base here, or we've got property managers that are maybe trying to build their portfolio. They're going to need a wildly different strategy than an experiential property that's just trying to book stays. So, and honestly, for property managers that are trying to grow their management or their portfolio, I usually don't necessarily recommend social media. I recommend more of a networking approach and collaborative effort. Now, they can use social media, but their approach for social media is going to be very different than an experiential stay property that's going to need, you know, high quality video footage and cinematic stuff versus collaborative podcast clips, thought leader, things like that. So
Yeah. So basically, the answer that I'm realizing to my question is there is no answer to my question. It depends on the business that you're looking at and what problem they solve, because you're going to market a motel different than you would have
yes,
market a boutique hotel versus
yes,
like whatever, you know, a property that's luxury waterfront pool is going to be different than a
exactly.
metro market.
And what
Yeah.
you just called out is what the problem is that most people are running into when they're approaching their marketing. They're looking all over the place for answers, and they want somebody that says, use this strategy, plug it into your business. A plug and play approach is never going to work. It might work wildly well for the person who's promoting it, but it wasn't built for that business. It wasn't built for that audience, and it has different goals. You have to literally build something for your business, your goals, your customer, your audience, your guest, whatever it is, and let that be the guiding star, not what somebody else is speaking out and telling you to do.
Sure. So if you're like, let's say Matt and I were luxury vacation rental managers and we manage houses that do $100,000 in gross bookings and they're top of the market and stuff like that. Uh, Without doing a full deep dive into our brands and our business, what do you think would be a good approach for any of our listeners that are maybe in that category and they have that kind of, you know, high end brand standard? Like what's a good marketing approach that you would at least explore uh, with our businesses?
Yeah. With those clues, luxury, high end, things like that, those are clues to me. The first thing I would explore, with luxury, high end being those keywords, would be that immediately opens the door to, we've got to explore social media for you guys. We've got to take a look at your properties. We've got to take a look at your assets. We've got to take a look at your guest avatars. Who are the people that are coming to stay at your properties? And that's the first place to start. Who are the people that are coming to stay at these properties? And once you identify who those people are, then we say, okay, where are these people spending their time? And I would imagine that the people that are coming to stay at your properties do spend quite a bit of time on social media. And then we get to pick it apart even further. We get to say, okay, what platforms are they on social media? Are these people that spend most of their time on TikTok? Are they on Instagram? Are they on, Pinterest scrollers? Do they have like a Pinterest destination board? We got to understand how they're spending their time. And that gives us clues as to what social media channels you should prioritize. Because social media in and of itself can be super overwhelming because there's so many different channels. And then we can say, all right, well, we've identified that our guests are on Instagram. And these are the types of accounts that they follow. They're really into travel. They like these influencers. They like, they're saving these types of properties. And that starts to give us an idea of maybe potential influencers that we could work with. So there's another clue. We could include, like for you guys, influencer marketing, luxury, high end, probably is going to be a pretty good fit for you guys. I would also say viral style content that really showcases the property and the experience and the emotion that people can experience while they're staying at your luxury high end properties means that you'd probably want to prioritize quality visuals, cinematics, high. I would invest, if I were you guys, I would invest into some high end video and photography, which isn't too different than what you've probably already invested in for listing them elsewhere, high end photography, videography, and stuff like that. And then really amplifying that on social media. There's statistics out there that say that guests are like 70% more likely to book a property after seeing a really well done video that guides them through that, especially if it ties in emotional experience, than they would be if they don't see video. So that's another clue. So those are the two things that I immediately think of with you guys. Another tool that maybe comes to mind is that potential like SEO and keywords that are applicable there, specifically location-based for your market. And that's something you'd have to explore. We'd have to see how saturated those areas are for your, those SEO keyword spaces are in your markets. Are you guys in one market or multiple?
I'm in a couple markets. Matt's in a couple markets too, right?
Yeah, but it's all the same to me. It's all close. It's a couple hours, but I was wondering more how you would frame it toward the other end. For instance, if like Austin and I were trying to get more clients, right? So instead of just like marketing, like toward getting the guests to book directly and things like that, in our aspect, it'd probably be more beneficial for us to go on the other end to make more money. Yeah. So what's the best way to attack it from that end? Because I know it's probably not the same, right?
No, it's not. I'm glad
different markets, different everything. So,
well, it's not necessarily this. So it's not the same for trying to get your properties booked. Okay. If your goal is to get your properties booked, we got to have a completely different approach. If your goal is, I want to build my portfolio, now we've got a completely different angle we have to go at. Okay. So now we're trying to attract high-end luxury property owners and convince them that they should trust their properties to us. Okay. Can you see how we're framing a completely different problem that we have to solve now? So what I would recommend for those is, first of all, you have to get super defined on who it is that you're trying to attract, just like, your guests. We need to understand where they're spending the time. So it starts the same. We're going to identify who it is, who our ideal client is. We're going to identify where they're spending their time. We want to come up with a list of problems, questions that they're, the problems that are keeping them up at night around their properties. Okay. And maybe they don't even have properties yet. Maybe one of your ideal clients is a avatar that is an investor. They want to have I know for property managers, that's kind of like the dream client, right? Somebody that's willing to go out and acquire several properties and give them all to you. Like, so easy, right? So if you're really wanting to attract investors, you need to start thinking like an investor. Where are they researching properties to invest in? What properties attract them? What things are they looking for? And then how do they go about acquiring those properties? What tools do they use? What realtors are they working with? What tools are they using for research? And those are your first clues. So right there, we identified we need to prioritize a relationship with realtors, and we need to prioritize a relationship with the right tools. So brands, companies, softwares that have tools that help these investors research their properties. We also need to make sure that our property management website has strong SEO for popping up, so that people that find, let's say I'm an investor and I'm researching properties and I find an awesome property in your market. And one of the first challenges that I have to say is, oh, this one would be awesome, but I'm not in this market. I don't live anywhere near here, but I can see this is a really good opportunity if I can find a good property manager to run the property for me. So what's one of the first things they're going to do? They're going to Google property managers in that market. So now you guys need to understand. So SEO there, and I would always recommend start with SEO and AEO before you double down on throwing budget at it. You want to start with the organic options first. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier with sometimes people are trying tools at the wrong time. So so now that's the clue right there. Dig in. If I were to prioritize one thing, it would be get my SEO, AEO game together for my website. I want people that are Googling property management companies in this area. I want to be top of the list when those come up. So then you've got to prioritize. Can you see how we've just identified a tool that could really help you for inbound? Now, that's one tool we want to identify, but that's if we just hope on the SEO, turn it on and pray, that's not quite enough. I would say SEO and networking would be your top two tools for building your portfolio, getting more clients in your portfolio for your markets.
Your top two free tools.
My top two free tools.
Yeah. So when it comes to like, when people come to you and they need your help with marketing, what's like the biggest mistake that most of them make prior to coming to you? So like, I think of it like this, like an example, like the biggest mistake I think people probably make when they do Facebook ads, for instance, is they don't put like a pin or put it where it needs to be. They just have it go throughout the United States by default and don't realize they throw their money away. Like just like a minor mistake. For instance, like what's a big mistake you see people normally do? Like going too broad or not? I don't know.
Yeah. So I would say the biggest mistake I see, especially in this space again and again, is trying to like chasing other people's results, chasing other people's, they see somebody else that's successful and they assume it's because of, if they assume that if they just copy and paste everything that person is doing exactly how they're doing it into their own business, it will work. Now, sometimes they will see some success with that, but what often happens is they see a little bit of success and they're constantly comparing themselves to that person. And they're like, well, how come they're getting these results and I'm getting these results? So that's honestly, and that can go, so, okay, let's say they're running Facebook ads. So I'm going to run Facebook ads, and maybe they're too broad. Maybe they're not geo-targeting properly. Maybe this person's spending $2,000 a month and they're spending $200 a month. So it could be that their budgets aren't aligned. There's a lot of different things. But even if they say, okay, how much are you guys spending? $2,000. Okay, we're going to spend $2,000. Where are you targeting? My market. Okay, we're going to target my market. And then they try to do everything exactly how they're doing it. They're still going to struggle because they're not going to get the exact same results. Even if they copy and paste everything over. It's because that's a different market than their market.
I agree. I think people don't realize things like that. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they don't realize, like, for instance, is like, if I'm targeting somewhere that is a drive-in market, then I don't need to go very far. But if I'm targeting somewhere where people fly in from, then it gets a lot more difficult, right? Because you're like, now I have to figure out where they fly from, right? You have to run ads farther and things
but
like
there's
that.
A clue here. Okay, so if let's say you're somewhere where people travel to that destination, so we could say like Anaheim, California, or we could say Vail, Colorado, a ski resort or something. This is actually something a lot of people miss. They don't take enough clues from the success they've had up to this point. They're quick to say, well, I've only been doing this for 2 months, or I've only been doing this for a year, and so I don't really know enough. And so they keep looking out. They keep looking to other people to try to figure out how to do this. Really, if we would stop looking out so much and we'd start looking in at our own business and what's brought us to this point, there's a lot of clues. Success leaves clues. There's a lot of clues for success for how you've gotten to where you are. So if they would take a look at their past guest list and get curious and dig in, like, where are my guests coming from? Then they would find some clues of, oh, I have a lot of people that travel to come visit this condo in Vail that I have from New York. Maybe I should run some ads and target the New York area, right? Like, you're going to be able to see a lot of clues. And can we build and expand on those over time? Absolutely. But pay attention to the clues that you've already got. There's a lot of signals inside your business already that people are completely ignoring because they're so obsessed with watching what other people are doing.
Yeah. So would you say like for your clients that you have, would you say that you're more like for our listeners that are looking for help, are you solving more of the problem of like, hey, I can help you get more direct bookings? Or are you saying, hey, I can help you sign more clients? Or is it a little bit of both? And it sounds like you kind of answered it a little bit, but like if the answer is both, say that, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe it's direct bookings. I don't know. Like, I guess my question is, do you solve both of those problems?
Yeah, definitely. Because my approach isn't like, this is the only thing that I do. I specialize in direct bookings. My approach is I help you recognize the strategy that you need to be using. So I work for both sides of that spectrum. If your goal is, I have one property and I want, I'm not happy with my occupancy rates. I want those to be 100%. And they're currently 40%. Like, how can I get these higher without relying on the OTAs? They've defined a goal. Then I take that goal and we start building out how to get from here to here. So that's what I do. So it's not just for direct bookings. It can also be for property managers. I actually do work mostly with property managers that are trying to grow their client base. That's something that more so, like, I don't work with a lot of one-off clients for one-off properties. It's usually property managers. And we do have conversations about how focusing on increasing direct bookings or getting, their direct bookings up across the board can help them attract more clients. But for the most part, we identify the problem that they want to solve and we work towards that. So it is both, because I'm problem solving focused in the marketing space.
That's cool. What's okay. What's one piece of advice you could give people on either side just to start, small wins that they can do to help themselves out?
Yes. This one I love. I love this one because you guys have probably picked up on the fact that I'm pretty passionate, that people get overwhelmed and don't really know where to start. I would say, for whether you're trying to increase direct bookings or you're trying to gain more property management clients, the key to working towards your goal is to get moving, to actually focus on that thing. We all know that the challenge in owning a business is that you're kind of spread thin. And honestly, marketing tends to be something that is patient. Like, we know we need to be doing it, but there's always something that's like urgent that can't wait, and we have to attend to that first. So marketing kind of usually gets pushed to the back burner. And I think most people find themselves in that space. And what I would recommend is, if you have serious goals that you want to solve and marketing can help you solve it, you have to actually carve out some time to prioritize it. So simple win is give yourself an hour a week where you can sit down and tackle those goals and really put your focus towards solving those problems. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can just block it off on your calendar and it's a non-negotiable for you. For a lot of people, that doesn't work great because there's no accountability there. And if some emergency comes up, guess what? They're going to keep going into that same pattern of putting it off till later. So what I really like to recommend people do is find a support group, find a community, find something that you can jump into that you're kind of expected to show up every week and prioritize your focus on your marketing. Every business owner is actually better at marketing than they give themselves credit for, or they wouldn't have a business, right? Like, businesses are the result of some level, some form of marketing. The problem is we get to a certain point in success and we stop focusing on it. Nobody's in the startup phase of marketing. They're more in the optimizing phase of marketing. And because they're in the optimizing phase, it's really easy to just keep putting it off. So that's my one piece of advice is make it a priority. It doesn't have to take up a ton of time, but make it a priority where you can really dedicate time and focus to it.
Awesome. That's a great answer. So so for instance, what kind of clients are you looking for? Like, from our audience or in general, like, and what's the threshold? So for instance, like if I come to you and I have 2 properties and I want to learn how to get direct bookings, am I wasting my time coming to you? If I come to you with 5 properties and my budget is $200 or something in marketing dollars, whatever, am I wasting my time with you? So give us kind of like a client box, like a buy box, but a client box, so that just in case anybody was to reach out, we don't want somebody to waste their time, for one, either, and then also whether it's even going to be beneficial for them to even do something like this at this point.
So one of the things that I am really focusing on right now is, I mentioned a community and a space, find people where that will help you prioritize that. Right now I'm helping, I have a good friend in the space, Marissa Grover. I think you guys know her. She has a community called System Society, and she's just kind of put that space together for business owners to, property owners, property managers specifically, to come and get in the room with other property managers and solve the problems in their businesses. Now, she focuses on the system side, but in working with her, we've identified that marketing is a big problem for a lot of these property managers. It just isn't something that they really feel confident in navigating on their own. And there's a lot of questions that come up inside there. So we've started implementing Marketing Mondays inside System Society. And so that's kind of who I am wanting to find right now, are those business owners, property managers that are maybe curious about increasing direct bookings. Maybe they own all their own properties and that's their goal. There are plenty of those types of property owners and managers inside System Society, but there's also some that have, 8 properties, or some that have 40 properties. We have a pretty wide range, but it's kind of, the sweet spot is for people between 2 and 40 properties. Okay. And then we have Marketing Mondays in there where you can come and ask your questions. And of course, I'm going to chime in. I kind of lead that discussion. So you can ask the questions. We can help you strategically think about how to approach that from your side, from your angle, and what your goal is with your business. But there's also other people in there who might be like, hey, I'm doing that same thing, and this is what's working for me. So it's not just like trusting blindly one person. It's a conversation, a community of people that are all working together towards improving their marketing, and you're getting a lot of feedback from people of what's working real time in this market.
That's great. I'm actually in that group. I'm never in the group, but I'm in the group. I haven't looked in a few months.
You got to pop back in. It's getting active in there. It's fun.
Yeah. If you guys need a refresher on Marissa, it's episode 67. So awesome. And I think it's going to be episode 105 too, or 104. But anyway, Chantell, I think you dropped so much stuff for everybody, and I really appreciate you coming on. If you could just tell everybody like where to find you or anything you want to share before we wrap it up for today.
So the best place to get in touch with me, if you want to reach out, if you've got questions, come find me on Instagram. My handle is Strategy Square. and I'd be happy to answer questions. My big thing is I just want to answer people's questions. Like, the best thing you can do with your marketing is get curious and start asking questions. That's why we have Marketing Mondays, a place where people can bring their questions. It's what my social media is all about. And yeah, I'd love to hear more about what people are up to and what challenges they're running into.
Just followed
Awesome.
you. Strategy Square.
Awesome.
It's a cool
Yeah.
name.
Thank
I'm
you.
not a huge Instagram guy, so I'll probably follow you on Facebook.
Perfect.
I have Instagram, I just don't ever look at it. So if you guys ever DM me on Instagram, I rarely, if ever, check it.
On Facebook, I'm Chantell Hammond. I do have Strategy Square, but I don't really use that page, so you can DM me on Facebook if you're looking for me.
It's easy to be more personal on Facebook, and then
Yeah.
Instagram, you can kind of, it's a different world, but it's almost the same. I don't get it. But yeah, awesome. So yeah, appreciate you coming on. I think this is very helpful to everybody. So hope you all liked it, and like, subscribe, share the show, tell your friends, and party on. Excellent. I'm just trying to get Austin to end it, but normally he's paying attention. So, and with that, everybody.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.
Thanks.